What's up? Welcome to Wine School. I'm Mike. As always, I got my boy Eric with us. Today, we've got a packed house. We got Chris, Sherry, Annie, and Brad all here to drink some Amarone with us. Today's class brought to you by Custom Whey Protein. And actually, Chris, the CEO of Custom Whey Protein. Chris, you want to give us 60 seconds about why it's awesome?
I can. If you are a whey protein user, you should check it out because we've revolutionized the industry. Instead of getting your protein pre-flavored, we've taken the flavors out. It's unflavored, super high quality protein, which actually a lot of people have liked it by itself, and all the flavors on the side. We currently have 5 flavors, but there'll be more to come, including some seasonal flavors for you.
I think we should have like a Pinot flavor and a Cabernet flavor.
Actually, Cabernet would be cool.
That would be awesome. I would buy the shit out of Cabernet flavored whey protein.
I'd start Portugal with that.
Murder that.
Summertime Riesling.
Go get your breakfast cereal.
Riesling protein? Yeah, now we're talking.
Right, so that's the deal. Check it out, customwhey.com, and you can look into it.
Cool. All right, so today we're going to drink some Amarone. And Amarone is really an awesome wine. I'm so stoked to be drinking this. It's very different from every other wine in the world. So, a little bit of background on the Amarone. It's made in the Veneto region of Italy, which is by Venice, Veneto, which northeastern corner of Italy. And they grow this grape there called Corvina. And Corvina by itself, it's an okay grape. It's fine. It makes decent wine. It's reasonably easy to grow and easy to make wine out of. And they make a wine that's typically called Valpolicella. That's the standard wine that they make out of Corvina. However, somewhere along the way, people thought, hey, you know this Valpolicella, it's good, but could we do something a little bit more awesome? And so they decided they were going to take it through this process called appassionamento, where they take these straw mats, they pick the grapes, and they lay the grapes out flat on the straw mats, and they dry them for 120 days. They let them raisinate. All the water comes out of the grapes. And then once the grapes turn into raisins, they press them, and they ferment them, and they turn them into wine. And that wine is called Amarone. So a couple things about Amarone. One is, you'd think it's sweet because it's very concentrated. All the water comes out like it would with a Sauterne or with an ice wine. But it actually isn't. It's bone dry. And it tends to be extremely high in alcohol. So,
that's why I like it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? So especially in the old world, they have these rules everywhere about, you know, which town you're making wine in and what the rules are for making that. So the rule for Amarone, it has to be at least 14% alcohol.
At least.
At least. That's the minimum.
It's got to be at least not wine, like port almost.
It's at least 14% to be considered an Amarone. And this particular wine, I think, is about 15.5%.
Whoa. That'll put you down for the count.
Yeah, 15.5%. And by the way, we're drinking the 2005 Le Ragose Amarone Della Valpolicella Classico, and I'll talk a little bit about what Classico means. So, the way that they label wines in the old world is by where they're from. And so, what people found is, you know, you have this town, you start making some wine there, it's labeled the name of the town. And so, well, what about the area right around the town? That's kind of part of the town too, right? And if the wine has a good following globally, you can sell that shit for money. Well, you know, that's part of the town too. Oh, well, what about that next so much I got? So you sort of, the wine regions grow. And that's what's happened over the years. And so at some point in time, the Italian wine people said, hey, like, we're down with all this is cool, but let's have a way of at least going back to what was the heart of the region. And so that's what they call Classico. So in Italy, by the way, there's terms that mean different things in different areas, but in Italy, Classico means the heart of the original region. So you'll see this like for Chianti, right? Chianti, Classico, you guys have all seen this, right? That means like the old school heart of Chianti, as opposed to the way that they draw it now, which is this huge circle, which is, you know, encompasses half of Spain. You know, that's all part of Chianti, right? So this is from the heart of the region where they make Amarone. And it's very high alcohol, but it is bone dry. It's not sweet, but it has a ridiculously interesting flavor, which we'll get to in just a second. The other thing I want to talk about with respect to Amarone is all the guys that were making Corvina with just the regular Corvina grapes were like, hey, like, what's up with our wine? Like, it's still good. Like, the Amarone's different and interesting, but ours is still good. And somebody said, hey, wait, what if we take the old skins from the Amarone grape and we pour our regular Corvina, our regular Valpolicella, over the top of them? It'll pick up some of the flavor of the Amarone, but we won't have to do it. We're recycling. And we don't have to do anything extra.
We'll call it Classico Plus.
No, actually, what we call it is we have Valpolicella, we have Valpolicella Ripasso, which means it's repassed, it's passed over the skins, and then we have Amarone. So those are sort of the three levels of Corvina and the way that you can make it. Now, I say Corvina, but the reality of it is that there's actually some other grapes you can put in there. You only have to have it be 2/3 Corvina. You can put some other grapes. Rondinella is the most common that you'll see, but there's some other indigenous. What are you laughing about, Rondinella?
I've never heard of it before, and you've just said
Rondinella,
like,
yeah.
it's in your
That's
backyard.
Rondinella, yeah.
Never heard of that grape.
So anyway, so that is Amarone. Let's go ahead and take a sip of this. Let's sniff it. Let's understand what this is all about. This is awesome wine. Love this.
Love it.
Wow, it's beautiful.
So the 3 different levels, the Amarone is the best one, and then you have the.
It's not the best. They're just different. So the Valpolicella is like a still wine, and this is we're going to turn it into raisins before we smush it.
Okay.
So the alcohol level is totally different, flavor profile is totally different.
So they still press it, but it probably takes more raisins to get the same volume of liquid.
Oh yeah, so just think about it. Like you're taking your grapes, and this is, if you're a Corvina producer, this is a business decision you got to make.
Right.
I can squeeze this down and make 100 gallons, which I can sell for $10 a gallon, or I can raisinate it and squeeze it down and make 40 gallons, which I can sell for $50 a gallon.
If you eat too much pasta, you get stuck in your Sunday pants. You can't get the zipper up, and you're like, I'm going to make Corvina. Oh wait a minute, that's not what I was going for.
Well, literally, it's a decision
Yeah, right.
that you got to make.
Sound like the the fungus thing that we. I don't know.
Anecdote.
I gotta get it.
The last
stick and
episode,
start
yeah.
Swinging it around.
Yeah. That's all beautiful.
So what you'll get on this though is obviously you'll get like a high level of alcohol. You'll get a ton of raisins, right? Like you can.
Is there? I got a question. For some reason now? Obviously, there's the alcohol angle there, but sometimes when I have it seems like the beers with the best flavor palette to them seem to be the higher alcohol Belgians and the Trappists and stuff like that. And then it seems like this one has like more bolder flavors with the higher alcohol. Is that like something that's like a thing? Or am I just making a connection?
Yeah,
out of
I
nothing?
think it's correlated, but it's correlated, but it's not connected.
It's not causal.
Exact. Thank you. I was looking for that. There's been a little too much Amarone for me to start quoting calculus terms. But yeah, so like I would say, like for me, Riesling, like if you get a really good Riesling, it's phenomenal. But a lot of times those are like 8% alcohol,
Right.
right? And like the Madeira will be 18 to 20% maybe, but they're phenomenal.
Well, I don't like malt liquor, so it must not hold over on all the things.
I mean, you get a good bottle of 8-Ball, like a 40.
No,
Yeah.
that's terrible. And stay away from Four Locos, dude. Don't do that.
They don't even make them anymore. So I noticed it actually hides the flavor of the alcohol pretty well. Like you'll notice sometimes if you
It
drink a
doesn't seem
Malbec
any-
that's
it
really
doesn't
like
seem
a 14,
alcoholic.
14.5%. You're like, wow, you can really taste it, and it seems to.
Yeah, so here's the easy way to tell the alcohol. So take a sip, and then right after you take the sip, just inhale really hard.
Oh yeah.
And do you get heat in the back of your throat?
No. Is that because I'm drinking a lot of wine lately?
Bullshit, you totally get heat in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
I can
Do
feel
you
it.
get it?
You can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell.
And actually, well, for everyone it's calibrated a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But the question is, would you get more if I put a 8% alcohol wine
Yeah,
against this?
yeah,
Would you
right,
get a higher
right,
level of
yeah.
heat? I mean, I totally.
Oh,
When
I
I take a
feel
sip
it,
and
yeah.
go, like I feel that heat.
Right.
But you're right. It isn't prominent in it, and this is one of the reasons why this wine is such a good like first date Match.com wine.
Knock her out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Drag her in. Yeah, exactly.
No.
Whatever. Keep the cameras rolling. It's all good.
Yeah. No, it's definitely
Kids
a
at home,
high,
don't do that.
it's definitely a wine that is going to go great with meat, with cheese, with high fatty pastas. Oh,
Yeah.
this would
I
be
bet.
awesome with like a
Carbonara, bolognese.
absolutely.
Delicious.
Oh, brie.
Or some brie, absolutely. If it grows together, it goes together, right? So anything that's from the Veneto. Anyways, that's Amarone.
Love
Thanks
it.
for watching Wine School.
Ching, ching.
As always, we're going out with 30 seconds of craziness. Enjoy.
I'm ready, welcome to my map. Doesn't bring your problems to me. That's a minimum